The president says he's been straight with you.
I have a track record of transparency.
I'll make our government open and transparent.
We'll do it in a transparent way. I want transparency. I want accountability.
So that the American people can be involved in their own government.
Let me say it as simply as I can. Transparency and the rule of law will be the touchstones of this presidency.
If only. Now, 38 different journalism groups have written a letter to the president, and they say this, quote, "The stifling of free expression is happening despite your pledge on your first day in office to bring a new era of openness to the federal government and subsequent executive orders and directives which are supposed to bring such openness about." David Cuillier is the president of the Society of Professional Journalists, and he joins us live this morning. David, thanks a lot for coming on.
Thank you.
So can you be more specific about examples of the president's lack of transparency over the past 6 years?
Yeah, what we've seen is a lot of message management, information control, reporters being required to go through public information officers instead of just talking to government employees, being required to submit questions ahead of time, being required to have a PIO sit in an interview, being required to be dragged by a leash through tours of facilities like immigration facilities, muzzled and told they couldn't even ask questions. These kind of practices have been growing and becoming infused throughout the bureaucracies, and it's just getting worse.
You're seeing it even at the level of FOIA requests, the Freedom of Information Act, which gives all citizens, and especially news organizations, the right to non-classified information from their government, and they're slow-walking them. They've classified more information than any administration in American history. Are you surprised by this? Did you expect that he was going to make good on his pledge to be transparent?
Well, I was skeptical. I was hopeful but skeptical. We've seen this happening over the past 30, 40 years. It's a trend, and it's beyond the presidency. This is a secrecy culture that's developed in our government, and it's getting out of control. And like you say, this isn't about journalists versus the government. This is the people of America being able to get information they need to self-govern. And we've kind of seen this happen behind the scenes, the information war that goes on every day. And we finally felt we had to speak up because Americans are being hurt directly because of it. And
how much of this is being done under the pretext of national security? I noticed that a lot of members of the administration and members of Congress have all these servants and in the guise of bodyguards around them, but you can't get any information about how many personal servants they have because that's classified. Is that part of the excuse, do you think?
Oh, absolutely. It's used all the time. Now, of course, the government should be able to keep some secrets. There are important secrets for our safety that have to be kept. But they're using that excuse way too far, way too broadly, to basically hide embarrassing facts that would just make them feel bad or get them fired. And that's inappropriate. People need to know how their taxes are being spent and how their government is doing their job. And we have to have that information if we're going to know that.
So a lot of people watching this morning, I think, consider the press water carriers, or many in the press water carriers for this administration. That's a widely held view, as I'm sure you know. Do you think reporters who covered the administration, maybe even some who voted for him, are frustrated by and large by the secrecy?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's one reason why all these groups came together to support this letter. People within the White House, covering the White House, people mainly covering federal agencies, are frustrated. They're seeing information close down, particularly journalists who have been around a long time. They've seen the shift over the decades, and it's getting in the way of people getting information.
Yes, it is. David, thanks for the crisp summation. Really interesting. Thanks for coming on this morning.
Thank you very much.